Hey everyone, my name is Samuel Chite. Thank you for coming across my channel and viewing this video. I'm gonna share with you my personal story of how I started my own nonprofit with no experience and no money, and why I did it while I was in college. And I did this about 4 years ago, and since I've seen it grow tremendously. It just started with a little bit of faith, the size of a mustard seed. And I know this, people hear this all the time, but it's true. Like, I'm watching this seed grow more and more and more. And by God's grace, it's going to become a tree very, very soon. I would say it's still in the startup phases, but hey, when you're going for a nonprofit or when you're going to start your own business, you have to think of it long term. You can't be in it for the short term. You have to definitely be in it for the long term. So I'm in it for the long haul. I'm about 4 years in and excited to see where the next 4 years brings me. I just want to, you know, encourage you and say, hey, you can do this. This is something that you can definitely do. I did it. It was a crazy leap of faith, but I'm glad I took that leap. I even went as far as quitting my first job to focus on it as much as I could, and I don't have any regrets for that. I was in school while I did it. I didn't have any money. I just said, hey, I'm just gonna do this because this is on my heart, and I knew that since God put this on my spirit, it was weighing so much in my spirit that I had to do something. I didn't know who I was gonna go to. I didn't know how to start a nonprofit. I didn't know any of the steps, but I just said, okay, if I have this weighing in my spirit, if I don't do something about if I don't do something about the problem that I see, then who else is gonna do it? And that's when I figured out, okay, I got to do this. But let me backtrack a little bit and just give you a little bit of background about myself. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida. I was born in Tampa, raised in Tallahassee, ended up going to school at Florida State, graduated about 2 years ago. And the cool thing about uh, my time in college is, hey, at the time when you're in college, you don't have much, but hey, if I can get a job, I'll take it. And the job that I got was a mentor and tutoringship opportunity at NIMS Middle School. And they were paying pretty well. And on top of that, they were flexible with my busy engineering schedule. So I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to take this job. I don't really like kids that much, but hey, let me just take it. I know how to do math, and I'm gonna teach these kids how to do math. That's what I went to initially before going into this job. That's what I thought it would become. But as I, you know, as I worked at NIMS, I started to learn, like, wow, like my presence here is actually doing something for these students. And as I was working, I would just notice that these students would just cling to me, and I said, "What is it about me that these students are clinging to? Like, is it because I'm young? Is it because I'm black? Is it because, hey, I might be a little handsome? What is it?" And I realized it's because I am young and I can relate, and these students need somebody that looks like them, that is doing big things, to be there, because they don't really have a lot of that in their lives. I was working with a lot of students that come from different backgrounds, and they're considered at risk. And my presence was just to say, hey guys, I'm in college. This is what I do. I'm studying to be an engineer very soon, and it's one of the things that it's given me the ticket to pursue great things in life, and also pursue entrepreneurship. And I just want to share my story with some of these students. And man, you wouldn't believe, these students would lean in and they would cling and they would just say, man, what is college like? And this was my opportunity to show them routes that no one else can explain to them but through my eyes. And I knew that this was a big responsibility. And again, I told you I didn't care for kids like that, but after working there, I realized, like, yeah, I actually do care. And there's not enough people doing what needs to be done for these students. So that's my background. And that eventually led me to start my nonprofit, which is a mentorship organization. It's in Tallahassee, located local. We now have partnerships with about 4 community centers. We've touched the lives of over 200 to 300 students so far. We've seen students get GEDs, college scholarships, and entrance into universities. Also, we've been able to host ACT, SAT prep for students, as well as for college students and professionals. We've seen people land jobs with the state, people become big in corporate, like myself, and others that have went on to do amazing things in grad school. So this just by starting this organization, it has grown and it has led into something that has impacted other lives. So if you have any vision, any idea, it's gonna be bigger than you. It's bigger than yourself. You have to know that this is a God idea, and if you are the one that has been chosen to go for it, hey, go for it, because God's gonna lead you and He's gonna equip you. One of the things that one of my friends asked me before I made this video, I actually went on to all my social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and I asked people who's interested in starting a nonprofit. Honestly, I didn't think anybody was. I just asked the question because I felt like in the spirit, like, hey, I need to ask this question. Let me just see. I was kind of doubtful. I was like, nobody wants to know how to do this, but I asked, and I was overwhelmed with the amount of responses of people that say, yeah, I want to do this, or yeah, I've been wanting to do that. And the number one pain point that people had was they have fear. They don't know how to start, and they don't know where to start, and they're just afraid to start. So the first thing I want to address is fear. And here's something that I think is very helpful when it comes to fear. I memorized this verse in the book of Psalms, Psalms 23, verse 1. It starts, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down on green pastures. He leads me beside still water. He leads me down paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and Thy staff, they comfort me." So what that means is that even if you're afraid, He's going to lead you to peaceful streams. He'll let you lie down on soft grass. And His rod and His staff, they comfort you. That means He's with you every single step of the way. He prepares a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Guess what that means? He prepares a place for you to sit at, a table where you'll feast in front of the people that doubt you, in front of the people that don't respect you, in front of the people that think you're gonna fail. He prepares a place where you get to eat in front of them, and where your light gets to shine. And if you see that light behind me, oh my goodness, yeah, prepare. You better hand out some sunglasses, because it's gonna blind some people. He anoints my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely His goodness, His mercy, and His unfailing love will follow me all the days of my life, and I'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. That's some powerful stuff. I want you to rest in that. I want you to know that you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be fearful. He is with you. He is on your side. And it's going to take faith, but when you act in faith, it just encourages you to take the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. That's the reason why I use faith, and I said, I'm going to start this nonprofit. I used faith when I said, I'm going to quit my job. I don't know what's going to happen to me, but I'm going to do this. And man, it has brought me so far. It has not been easy, and I'm not recommending anybody quit their jobs, but I'm just saying this is my story. This is what I did. And I'm telling you that I started with no experience. I know where to go, and look at me now. Look at where I am now. If I can do this, man, a small town guy from a small city in Tallahassee in Florida, then you can do it where you are too. And I believe that the resources will be there and they're out there for you. So the first place I recommend you starting is just getting out. Get out in the community. Go to your family. Go to your friends. Tell them your idea and interview them. Write down their responses. Ask them questions, like really ask them good questions about, is this something that you think I can start as a nonprofit? Here's my idea. Is this something you think I can start as a for-profit business? Whatever it may be, I want you to interview as many people as you can. And while you're interviewing, ask the people you interview to refer you to other people that you can interview as well. Because what you'll realize is, as you interview, you're gathering the framework for your ideas. You're actually learning to compartmentalize your ideas, and you're learning as the CEO or the executive director of your nonprofit or company to share your mission, share your story, share your passion, because people are attracted to that, and people want to help others that are passionate about what they're doing. So I want you to know that it's going to be okay. But before you start, I want you to interview as many people as you can. Just don't sit in your house or your apartment or wherever you are. Don't just sit there and just brainstorm ideas all day and spin around in circles. Get out, put your boots to the ground, interview people, find people, go to the community, go to the places where you think you'll be offering your services, and interview those people as well. Because, hey, it makes sense. You need to know, how can I fit your need? If you're interviewing people, you need to know, how can my service or how can my program fit the needs that are at this place that I'm interested in being at. So that is the very, very first step. If you're wondering where do you need to start by interviewing. Start by emailing some folks. Even pop up on some organizations or community centers or wherever you're interested. Even pop up and just ask some people, hey, this is what I'm interested in. This is my ideas. I'm wondering if I can sit down and talk to somebody about this and see what are more ways I can get involved. And another thing is, I want you to volunteer. Volunteer or serve wherever you think you're interested in going into. The benefit you'll learn by volunteering with a group that already does what you're interested in is enormous. Let them know you're interested in starting your own thing and volunteer with them, and you'll see how they'll be ready to help you, ready to give you the context, ready to give you, because it's not for what we do as a service. We need more people doing it anyway, so it's not for anyone to keep to themselves. And if they do, that's not the right organization to be with. Volunteer with an organization that is willing to help your cause, willing to help your mission, and it's going to take you so very far. So that's where I would start. I had some questions that came in when I asked on my social media who was interested in starting their own thing, their own nonprofit. And one of the questions that came up was how to start, what to look for, what are the steps. So far, I know you have to have a board and a lawyer familiar with the laws creating a nonprofit. That's pretty much it. So I literally have no knowledge whatsoever. So this is one of my friends that asked me this question about starting a nonprofit. And to answer those questions, I think I've already answered the how to start and what to look for. Like I said, as you interview, you'll start to gather the framework, gather the information that you need, so you know exactly what further steps you need to take. As far as having a board or a lawyer, don't worry about that. You're in the beginning stages. When you get to the point where you have bylaws created and things like that, then you can start to think about, okay, how's this going to work with having a board of directors and other volunteers. You don't need volunteers right now. You don't need a lawyer right now. Just work. Go out and interview, and then start doing services. Start volunteering. Do all your stuff. I talk about the steps in detail in my book coming out. It's coming out very soon. I'm gonna put my email address here at the bottom in the description. So if you want to have a free copy of my book where I go into detail about how to do these things, what steps you need to take, when to go and get your sound legal advice, how to look for your board members and things like that, I'm gonna share that in my book. And I want to let you know that you don't need your own money to start a nonprofit. Actually, when I started, I had $0. I started with nothing. There are very many avenues of resources for starting. And I want to let you know, you might not be able to start a nonprofit immediately. It took me 3 years before I got the 501c3 status, and that is okay. Just because you have a nonprofit doesn't mean it's or an idea for a nonprofit doesn't mean it needs to be a nonprofit just yet. There are some steps you need to take, and I show you how easy it is to take those steps. But I want you to be committed to it for long run. It is a long-term game. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon. But once you stay committed to it, I promise you it's gonna give you results that are astounding, and it's gonna just surpass anything you can understand. So please go for it. Do it as your side hustle. Do it on, after your 9 to 5. Do it between classes, like I did. I mean, I've done this while I was broke, while I had no job. Well, that's the same thing. And then, while I was in school and after work, I just continued to work at it. And before you know, I'm looking back, and 4 years have already gone by, and man, this thing has been amazing. So please go for it. And another thing that I would like to bring to your attention is to use what you have. Use what you have. You don't have to have anything fancy. You don't have to have the high-end equipment. Use the skills you have. Your gift will make room for you. And when people see you're passionate about what you're doing, people are going to try to figure out ways to help you. And just go out, get yourself out there, get yourself exposure, and do it. And another question you need to answer for yourself before you even start is, what is my why? Why am I doing this? What is the reason I'm doing it? Is it because it's been in my spirit? Am I passionate about it? Do I want to make money as well? Is this something that I think that is needed in the community, but no one's going to do anything about it unless I step in and take action? What you have, that idea that you have, I'm telling you, there's impact connected to your purpose. There's impact connected to your cause. But I need you to figure out your why. Figure out why you want to do it. And sometimes that why can come like it came for me while I was working in the middle school. I had no idea. It just hit me one day. And sometimes you might even know. So whatever it is, I want you to go through that process of figuring out your why. And once you have that why down, everything else becomes easy, and you can take care of the rest from there. I mean, guys, be encouraged. Be encouraged. If this video has blessed you in any way, I encourage you to, look further into doing this process. There's so many books, there's so many resources you can get into at the library for free. I actually have an ebook that's coming out. If you want to get that ebook, please email me. I'll have my email in the description below. Follow me on social media. I'll have that also in the description. And please like, rate, and subscribe to this video. I hope it blesses you. Share it with people. I want this message to get out because anybody can do this. I did this while I was in college I had to be 20 years old when I started. And I mean, anybody can do this, young, middle-aged, or old. It's for everybody. And I know that once you do this, once you take that step of faith, man, the world is going to open up for you. So please be encouraged. Hey, if you have it on your mind, you can do it. If it's in your spirit, that's an indication that God said, go ahead, go for it. So with that, I'm excited for you. Please interact with me. Leave comments below. I love to just read and respond. So I'm excited. Do what you can, and let's do this thing. Let's make this thing great. Be blessed.